Alright, so today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about how to use page 4 of your Earth Science reference tables, which deals with surface ocean currents. And it's actually really easy to interpret. So aside from the reading that I assigned you, you're also going to know how to interpret this particular graph or chart in order to answer Earth Science Regents questions. The first thing you want to know is, what do these arrows mean? These arrows actually show the flow of water. You'll notice there's two major types of arrows. There's these thicker white arrows and these thin black ones. The thick black ones, or the thin black ones, excuse me, are warm ocean currents. So that's going to be an ocean current that tends to have a warmer temperature associated with it. Whereas the thick white arrows represent cold currents. So if you notice, most of the warm currents originate in the equatorial region, which is the region where the Earth receives the most direct insolation. And you can see it here. You also notice that the way they move in the northern hemisphere is clockwise. And in the southern hemisphere, they move more counterclockwise. Okay, or kind of, you can even see they move towards the right. The problem is they don't always move towards the right because there's landforms involved. But the reason they move that way is because of the Coriolis effect. Okay, so the easiest thing to kind of recognize here is, as I said, the warmer currents originate near the equator. The colder currents tend to originate more towards the poles. So you can see this current up here and down here, as well as these currents down by Antarctica. So what they like to ask you in the Regents exam is maybe they'll give you a specific set of latitude and longitude coordinates, and you have to find the specific current that's associated with those coordinates. So, for example, if I said at about 40 degrees north and 125 degrees west, what current type is affecting the west coast of California? So you'd go and you'd look and you'd say, okay, there's the California current, 40 degrees, 125 degrees. So what type of current is that? We look down at the bottom, it's a thick white arrow, so it's a cool current. That means the water around California is mostly cool water, and that's actually the case. If you've ever been to California and tried to swim in the winter, it's very cold. In contrast with that, if you look on the east coast of the United States and you look at what type of current is affecting the east coast, you notice the Gulf Stream current, and that's warm water going up the coast. And you can actually swim. The water is much warmer on the east coast than it is on the west coast of the United States if you swim there. Now, they could ask you about anywhere on the world, remember. They could ask you about what type of current affects the west coast of South America, and you'd say the Peruvian current. You want to know the characteristic of it is that it is a cold water current. How about the east coast? Well, it's the Brazilian current. It's a warm water current. Okay, so that's pretty much what they're going to focus on if you get any questions relating to surface ocean currents. So what you want to remember is they're mainly driven by the wind. Okay, they have different temperatures based on where they kind of come from. Where if they come from the equator, they're going to have warmer temperatures. If they come more north or south or closer to the poles, they're going to have colder temperatures associated with them.